Hey boys and girls, I just want to quickly review multiplying fractions before we move any further this week. The last thing we talked about was multiplying fractions. We talked about how you need to cross simplify before you multiply your numerators and multiply your denominators. So let's quickly review what it means to cross simplify. Cross simplify means that we're going to be simplifying the numbers that are across from each other. So that means when I look at my problem, I notice that 3 and 9 are across from each other. So we would simplify those first. We simplify, remember, by dividing by the greatest common factor, the GCF, okay? So when I look at 3 and 9, I can divide both of those numbers by 3. 3 divided by 3 means that my numerator is now 1. And 9 divided by 3 means that my denominator, is now 3. And now I'm ready to multiply my numerators. 1 times 1 is 1, and 8 times 3 is 24. I'm going to show you that simplifying is going to make it easier for you in the end. This next example, I'm not going to cross simplify. I'm just going to multiply my numerators. 4 times 3 is 12. And 9 times 4 is 36. Okay, now I'm left with these large numbers, and I have to divide. Now, I know that 12 is a multiple of 36, so I can simplify by 12, which is going to leave me with 1/3. But many of you just divide by 2, and you keep going till you can't anymore. So it would take you some time. So cross simplifying is not a necessity, but in the end, you do have to simplify your fraction. So I'm going to take a look at this next one. I can cross simplify 2 and 4. I can divide both of those numbers by 2. 2 divided by 2 leaves me with 1. 4 divided by 2 leaves me with 2. And now I'm ready to multiply my numerators. 1 and 9 times 2 is 18. This cannot be simplified any further because this is a unit fraction. When I look at my next example, there's nothing for me to simplify. I'm just going to multiply my numerators. 1 and 6. So this is 1/6. Okay, just want to keep going, do a few more for you. Okay, I have 2 and I have 16. All right, if I didn't cross simplify these guys, I would have a product of 6/48. Okay, which is not terrible, but it makes it a little bit easier if you simplify beforehand. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to simplify beforehand. So I can divide 2 and 16 by 2. My new numerator is 1. 16 divided by 2 leaves me with 8. Okay. So now and I can actually cross simplify these 3's. I can divide them both by 3, which will leave me with 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So my answer is 1/8. Whenever you see that the numbers directly across from each other are the same, you can divide them by itself and leave you with 1. Okay, when I look here, I have 1 and 9. That can't be simplified. That's a unit fraction. But I have 8 and 16. I know that 8 is half of 16, so that's going to leave me with 1/2. So I have 1/18. All right. I'm just going to point out a couple more things here. So look here, guys. See how these 3's are across from each other? I can divide them by themselves and leave it with 1. So this leaves you with 1/4. Okay. These are pretty simple here. 1/12, 1/18. Okay. Come down here, right? Look here. If I don't cross simplify these here, I'm going to be left with 12/72. Okay. I don't think many of you want to be simplifying that. But if I simply go in here and I take a look at this 4 and this 8, and I know that that's a half, and the same with this 3 and 9, I know that this is a third, I'm left with 1/6, which is already simplified because it is a unit fraction. So I'm encouraging you to cross simplify, but should you not be able to, just know that in the end, you have to simplify. All right, so that's just a quick review. I'm going to have you guys work on one of these as well. You could either upload it in Kami, or you can print it. You can write the problems down and take a picture of your work. I don't really care how you do your work as long as you submit either a picture or this document in Kami.